In this tutorial, we'll take a look at a few things concerning the camera, the clipping plane, your objects in general, like controlling your point of view to objects, just little tidbits. First thing to notice is I'm in cycles render at this point, and this is the color I have set for this object right here. If I was in normal texture mode down here like this, you don't see the color. So if you're in cycles render, you need to switch it over to there, to the material, or if you want to see it actually rendered in real time, you just change it to rendered, and it just renders it in real time. So if I change the scene like this, it's just constantly rendering it. And you can change how much it renders it by the preview tab over here in the window down here. Where is it? Under my preview right here. You see this under preview? It's 10. If I was to change that to 20 like that and then move my view, you're going to see the number of samples up here is going to take, it's going to actually run it out a little bit longer. So it's actually done the complete cycles rendering right there within the preview window. But if you're moving a lot of objects around, you want to keep this fairly low, otherwise it kind of bogs down on you. But for, you know, there's 7, 8, 9, 10, that's pretty fast. It gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on in the scene like that. Alright, so we'll leave that there, and let's go to a different view and go find the camera. We'll just leave it in this render mode. Where is it? Finding that camera. Well, this is a good point. Where is the camera? Sometimes you lose hold of things. So you can come up into here, into this window, which is, if you look at this little tab right there, it says the editor type. Let's go see where it says right there. It's the properties. Alright, and within there you can just grab objects there. So I'll just grab the camera there, so it's active in the scene. Well, I still don't see it, right? Well, that's one of two things. One is when you're in this render mode, you're not going to see it. So let's go back into material mode, and there's the camera there. But even sometimes it's out of view. Well, if you go over to the number pad on the keyboard and you see the period below the number 3, or it's called DEL on my keyboard, if you press that, it'll zoom you into that object. It centers that object in view, and that's really helpful to getting places. Or if I right click that and press that same key, it centers that in view, because then when I rotate, and if I wanted to rotate around this object, I want it in the center, then it just rotates like that. But sometimes you have it over here, maybe that's your active object, and then you're trying to rotate around this object here and it doesn't work. So you just right click that, press that DEL key or the period key, and it comes back into view. Another issue you might run into, notice I have a camera view set up over here, and let's go get my camera again. I'll grab it up here like this, and I have normal mode set here because that allows me to move this camera view straight in and straight out of view, and you can see it like this. I move in and out like this, but in this case I can't see the entire object in the scene yet, so I'm going to move it away from the scene. But notice there's going to be a problem. Something's cutting away at the back like that. Alright, and it's like, yeah, but you want to be able to see the whole thing, but the further away you get, the more that disappears. Alright, so we can adjust that, and that has to do with the camera clipping plane. Now there's a couple places you can find that, and one is in the camera view itself with the camera selected. Right over here you have this object data tab has turned into the picture of a camera, so you can get into there and you see the clipping starts at 0.1 and it ends at 100. Let's just change this to 1000 like that, and suddenly the view is in there. So it's kind of there are kind of barriers at the end of your camera, so you might need to adjust that, and that can really throw you off sometimes too. And then you can also change your focal length of the camera. So they have it set at 35 millimeters, which is actually considered moderately wide angle. A standard lens, you know, when you get a camera, is 50 millimeter lens, and that would be typically what view you would see just in your normal vision. So you can change that to say, let's make it a 20 millimeter lens like that, and then it widens out the whole scene like that. So playing with those can make a huge difference in your scene as far as what it looks like. And then on the rendering, see, this is actually a plane behind the object. If I could get the camera, well, actually I do have the camera selected, and if I move the camera straight down, I'll have to go to global coordinates to do that and move it straight down like that. Then you can see that this object behind the scene kind of serves as my backdrop here. But if I go into rendered mode like this and go look at it, not only does it serve as a backdrop, but it's also my light. It's one of the lights in the scene for cycles like that. Sometimes I do that, but actually sometimes if I do that, I'll do it with a blue light, more of a blue light, kind of a black background light. And maybe I'll crank up the other one. Maybe this one needs to be cranked up here. There we go. Very nice if you have reasonably fast computer. I'm not even using the GPU version of Cycles in here. This computer is about maybe 2.5 years old. So in any case, it's pretty fast. Let's crank this down a little bit. And you get a nice view. Alright. Well, I just wanted to point that out. Well, actually, you know what? Let's render this. I think it's the setting is at 40 over here for, no, it's at 30 for the rendered view. Like that. Let me see, we're up at 29, 30 samples, and then you can see the small dots will start going away the closer it gets to the finished view. I actually want to go down here, change over to material mode just for a second, grab the camera, move it back up a little bit, get a different perspective. Alright, I like that a little bit better. And then we'll go back into rendered mode and see it. I'll just see it in the preview. I'll just change the preview up to 50. And then if I move my camera just a fraction, now it's going to have to render through all 50 cycles. 50 passes, I should say. And then it gives some nice effects. Yeah. Alright, just wanted to point a few things out just in case you didn't know, because you might not, and you might. Okay, well that's it. And I'll see you in the next lesson.